why labor laws? That is a question that you need to ponder over. Are labor laws a necessary burden on business? I would like us to focus more on the relevance of labor laws in your business and probably the consequences that may follow. Don't observe labor laws in the Republic of Kenya. Now, if we look at the meaning of labor laws, that may not even be very important. Nothing can be done without laws in place. Labor laws will take you to matters of social security and even disability insurance. Now, why learn labor laws in business? Knowledge of those labor laws is important because that is where you will get clarity and qualification as a business owner. Also creates a productive work environment that evaluates business growth. The growth of your business depends on the environment in which you're working. So where you have your business, the protection of labor laws comes in. It will also improve employer-employee relations. The next point I would like to take you to is the legal framework. The first statute is the Constitution of Kenya. It is the supreme law. And being the supreme law, every other law made in Kenya, including labor laws, must comply with that Constitution. The Employment Act is a key employer-employee relation statute. The foundation of employer-employee relation in an entrepreneurial area is governed by Employment Act. The Labor Institutions Act was put in place to establish institutions that regulate labor laws in Kenya. Then there is the Work Injury Benefits Act, which is actually a social welfare law. Social welfare because in the course of work, the employee may get injured. That injury of the employee needs to be compensated. We look how it works. The Occupational Safety and Health Act, which was enacted with the aim of ensuring that the environment of work at your place of business is safe, healthy for workers and yourself as the employer. The Labor Relations Act was put in place to ensure that employers and employees have a forum where they can champion their interests. They champion their interests in terms of trade unionism as well as employers' organization. That act also contains dispute resolution mechanism, where if an employer has a dispute, an employee has a dispute, then what are the channels you can actually settle those disputes? They are called trade disputes. The next item that we need to look at are the sources of labor laws that we are going to look at. Where do they come from? Do they just fall from the moon? No. Business person, you need to know that the Constitution is the first and foremost source of all laws in Kenya, because whether the laws are made by Parliament is a creation of the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is the supreme law, said earlier. It is applicable to the entire country. And any other law made by Parliament or through delegated legislation must comply with the provisions of the Constitution. Even the labor laws that we have today must be in tandem with the Constitution. Otherwise, they'll be declared unconstitutional, null and void. Now, our second source of labor laws is legislation, that is acts of Parliament. Constitutionally, Parliament has the mandate to make laws, including labor laws. And through Parliament, several legislations have been enacted. I mentioned them earlier: the Employment Act, the Work Injury Benefits Act, Occupational Safety and Health Act. That is why it's there as a source of labor laws. Collective bargaining agreement is another source of labor laws. By collective bargaining agreement, we mean employers and employees do have disputes. Those disputes are required to be settled by bargaining collectively through the employer or employers organization, as well as trade unions or employees. The law requires that once, if there is a dispute, that dispute can be settled amicably, and once they have reached a standard contract signed, contract standard signed is taken to the industrial court for purposes of registration. And once it is registered, the contents of that negotiation and settlement becomes part of the labor laws governing the people who have entered into that. That is why collective bargaining agreement is a source of labor laws. Remember, Kenya was colonized by Britain. And even though we have our laws governing labor in place, sometimes we have gaps. These gaps can be fulfilled by applying the provisions of the common law of England in those areas where labor laws are not fully. National political philosophy as a source of labor laws. The national political philosophy of any country, including Kenya, is normally contained in the manifestos, political parties. If you look at political parties' manifestos, they contain what we call aspirations that political party would like to actually achieve in case it comes to power. Those aspirations include labor laws, so that when a political party gains power, it is able to implement the provision of labor laws, and therefore that's why it's a source of knowledge. The Industrial Relations Charter is actually a tripartite agreement between the government, Kenya, Central Organization of Trade Unions, as well as the Federation of Kenya Employers. This tripartite group normally sit and give consent to the labor laws we have today. That is why it is also a source of labor. The International Labour Organization, an organization to which Kenya is a signatory, it also formulates policies that affect the labor laws that we have, and the current labor laws we have in them with the National Labour Organization policies. To that extent, among others that I may not mention here, these are the major sources of labor laws we have in this